Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars, welcome to another PlayStation review. Today's review, I take a look at Medieval Dynasty on the PlayStation 5. Now I made a little bit of a mistake in my gameplay video. I said this was available on the PlayStation 4 as well, which isn't the case. It's on PlayStation 5 only, but it's also available on Xbox as well, I believe. But this is all PlayStation 5 gameplay. Now this comes to us from Toplix Productions. Now these are the guys that brought us things like Farmers Dynasty and Lumberjacks Dynasty, two games that I've covered fairly extensively on this channel, and I have reviewed them both. And they are two games that I have very much enjoyed. Now, I do talk about this a lot on this channel. I'm at the age now where I kind of like chill out games. I like games that are really going to immerse me and allow me to take my time, very little pressure, and just chill out and enjoy myself, which is why I have very much enjoyed Farmers Dynasty and Lumberjack Dynasty. So I know that they had Medieval Dynasty out and it had been out on PC for a while. I'm also aware that there's the Wild West Dynasty, which I'm really hoping that comes to console as well. So I've been looking forward to this coming to console, but I wasn't aware it was coming just as soon as it did. When this came out a number of days ago on the PlayStation, I was really excited to download it and play. I've paid for this myself. I've not got a review code or anything like that. And I've been putting as many minutes into this game as humanly possible since the day it was released. And I'm at a stage where I think I can give you a fairly in-depth look at this game. I don't necessarily think I've seen everything this game has to offer because it is so in-depth. But this is almost like a review stroke impressions of the game to some degree. But for those of you who are not sure whether you really want to try this game out, hopefully by the end of this review, it might give you a little bit more information as to whether you're thinking about picking it up. So what can you expect with Medieval Dynasty? Well, this game is actually slightly different than the other games I have played, like Farmers Dynasty and Lumberjacks Dynasty. Those were far more focused on careers. Laser focused on farming and laser focused on becoming like a lumberjack. This game is slightly different. This is almost a cross between Kingdom Come Deliverance and Conan Exiles. Two games that I've also covered quite extensively on this channel, and two games I very much enjoy. Now that is a really good thing. So this is actually quite different from those other games that I've mentioned. I think in a lot of different ways. This is like a simulation, of course, but it's also different in the sense of it's like a survival game and a building game as well. And it does feel, I think, quite a significant different game than the other ones I've mentioned. So for those of you who like building games and survival games, there's lots here for you to enjoy. Now, it's not necessarily massively difficult. Some people are put off by that phrase, survival game. Yes, you do need to eat in this game. Yes, you need to drink. Yes, you need to manage your health, manage your temperature, all this kind of stuff through various different means, eating, drinking, putting different clothing on, all that kind of good stuff. But one of the good things about this game is it allows you to completely customize your experience when you're going into the game. There's no multiplayer option on this game. It's just like a single player game. So you'll go in there and it'll give the option as to customize the game however you want. If you want to just go into this game and experience it at a basic level with the building and that kind of stuff, you can turn off all like the survival aspects of this game. You can turn off like the need to eat and drink, and you can even make yourself like invincible in regards to your health and all this kind of stuff. Now, I did not all of that. I did some of that for the first 2 or 3 hours of this game, because sometimes on a survival game it takes you a while to get used to the game mechanics, and then you didn't end up dying quite early on in games, and it can be quite frustrating. So I turned it off and made the game a little bit easier for the first 2 or 3 hours, which allowed me to learn the mechanics of the game, because one of the weaknesses of this game, I think, is its poor tutorial. It doesn't explain itself particularly well. So if you're new to this genre, I would definitely suggest customizing the game and making it a little bit easier for yourself, so that you can learn the mechanics of the game and then kind of turn them all back off and get stuck into the game once you've learned everything that you think you need to learn to progress the game forward. So I like that fact that this game allows you to customize the game however you want. So I also think as well, even though this is like a PlayStation 5 game, but to be fair, it looks very much more like a PlayStation 4 game. I also think this is the prettiest game that Toplix Productions have put out there. Is it the best looking game you're going to see this year? Of course it isn't. There are some glitches, and it's the frame rate's not brilliant. But I honestly think this is definitely the prettiest game I've played from these guys. But it's certainly not going to win any awards for graphics or anything like that. In regards to glitches and bugs, they are here and there in the game, but not as bad as some of the other Toplex games that I have played. And I've suffered, I think, a couple of crashes, but it does have a fairly forgiving autosave option that you can alter the timings of. I think it autosaves on the default setting every 10 minutes or something like that, but you can adjust that to less if you want. So if it does crash, you don't usually end up losing a lot of your progress or anything. So that's a nice feature as well. So what do you do in this game? Well, essentially, you are building a community. You at the beginning of the game, you turn up into a little town, you have a chat with someone, you talk about your family, and then you go off and build your own town, village, community, whatever you want to call it. As you progress through the game, as you gain more knowledge and skill up, in the usual way, you'll earn skill points and things like that will allow you to invest more knowledge into things that you want to research and use to build. So you can build buildings, you can build fences, gates, farms, the whole shebang. You can basically make your own little village. And you can also then go out there and recruit people to go and live in your village. So you'll get this little community going. But once you get people into your village, you need to then manage these villagers. And you need to do that in a number of ways. You need to give them somewhere to live. So you need to make sure you've got enough houses. And you need to give them a job. So you can make someone work at like the woodwork place, the well, the barn, make them a farmer. Give them any number of jobs to keep them busy. But there's also a number of things you need to do as well. You need to make sure that there's enough food, enough water, enough resources like wood and things like that. So, and certainly that there's enough houses. If you don't, they'll basically just leave eventually. They'll let you know. You can see in the top left there. They'll let you know if they're happy and if there's certain things that there isn't enough of. That's up in the top left there. They're not particularly happy, or certainly one of them isn't, and there's not enough resources, firewood and things like that. So you need to make sure there is enough resources, and you can build all the buildings that you need to make a flourishing village. There's also a number of missions. There's main missions. Now, when you complete main missions, that is what essentially levels you up, in a sense of initially you can only build 5 buildings, but the more main missions that you do, that will then expand to 10 and then 15, so on and so forth. And the more you increase your knowledge in certain areas, the more buildings are unlocked. So initially you're only allowed to access like the very basic buildings, and then as you progress through the game and gain more knowledge, you get more detailed buildings like kitchens and hunters' lodges and herbal huts. The whole shebang. You unlock everything. There is threats in the game in regards to the wildlife. There's hunting. Obviously, you can go out and do some hunting. There are bandits in the game to keep you on your toes. And there's also, as well as the main quest, you get a number of side quests as well. And you do this by talking to certain people. They'll give you, to be honest, they generally turn into mainly fetch quests. They're not detailed missions sort of thing. They kind of keep you busy, but they're nothing particularly special. There isn't what I would traditionally call a fast travel option. There's like a horse and cart that you can use and pay coin for to like travel around to different parts of the map. And the map is actually quite large, quite extensive. So you're going to do quite a lot of traveling around, doing side quests and all this kind of stuff. Selling and trading. It's got the whole aspects are here to kind of keep you entertained and keep you busy. I've been playing this now. Well, to be honest, I don't know how many hours, but it's quite a few hours now, and I've not once felt bored playing this game. You can also, in regards to characters in the game that you can speak to, you can romance characters, you can have a family, you can have children, which you're going to want to do to kind of carry on your family name, all that kind of stuff. There's a third-person option as well as a first-person option, very much like Skyrim. Voice acting is minimal at best. There's very, very little voice acting, which I think does affect the immersion a little bit. I would have preferred maybe a little bit better voice acting. From memory anyway, I do seem to think that there was more voice acting in the other games than this game, but this is also a little bit more complex than some of those other games, I would suggest. So this game is really good if you're into these simulation type games, if you're into like building games and survival games, if you liked Farmers Dynasty and Lumberjack Dynasty, and you also like things like Conan Exiles and you like things like Kingdom Come Deliverance, this is a game I think is absolutely tailor-made for you. The price as well, I think, is really perfect. I think I paid about $24.99 in the UK for this. Now that was with some money off, I think, because I'm a PlayStation Plus member. I think it's a little bit more if you're not a PlayStation Plus member, but I still think even if it was £30, it's definitely worth the money, because it's one of those games that you're going to pile hours and hours of time into. I know that I've only really just scratched the surface with this game. I know that I'm going to be putting a lot more time into this game or in the coming weeks, stroke months. And I'm really looking forward to doing that. So check it out, guys. If this is a game that interests you, get in there, get it bought, and really enjoy your time in it, because I think this is a really, really good game, and I'm really, really happy that I picked it up. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this review. I hope you found it useful. I will, of course, be back with plenty more reviews on the channel very, very soon.